Oh, here we go. What do you think about G? This is a good one to start talking about in today's world. So what type of measure scale is being used? What level of data is this? Political outlook, extreme left, left of center, right of center, extreme right. Yeah, I would agree with nominal. Now, you could see that they're trying to make it seem like it's ordinal, right? And you could almost say there's a spectrum. So you could argue ordinal, and you would just say that there's a left side and a right side, and you fall somewhere in between. So that's ordinal. But I would argue, yeah, it could be nominal too. They don't necessarily have to be in order. We don't normally reference people like this exactly, right? What about income in dollars?
That's ordinal.
I like no, it's more than that. No, real quick. I want to make sure you understand. When you answer a question like this, you answer the highest level. Nominal's the lowest level, because it's the least shit you can do to it. Ordinal, there's an order it wants to be in. Then you can take differences. Then you can divide, right? Every ratio thing is also ordinal. So ratio would be the highest. So here, give me a couple examples. Give me some nice round number incomes. 100,000.
120,000.
120,000. Sure, why not? Can you subtract those and the answer makes sense?
Yes.
Yes, one person's making 20,000 more than the other. But can you divide them and the answer makes sense? Or does zero mean what it's supposed to mean?
Yes.
If my income was zero, then I have made no money. So zero means what it's supposed to mean. Remember, that's a part of ratio. That is ratio then. So how do you do these problems? You give yourself a couple of data points. Because what's it mean to be interval? 2 data points can be subtracted and the answer makes sense. Okay, so give yourself some data points. And see if subtracting them makes sense. We already talked about social security numbers.
For a ratio, for the measured in dollars, are you saying, sorry, if you divide them, then it's just going to come up with a percentage or something that you want?
Well, it would come up with a multiplier. Like, so if you did 120,000 divided by 100,000, you get 1.2. So the one dude makes 1.2 times as much money as the other guy, right?
Got it.
So you might want to give yourself numbers like 40,000 and 80,000. 80,000 person makes 40,000 more. That's interval. But can you do more with it? Yes, you can divide and the answer makes sense. Like it.
And subtract.
The dates, these dates, right? The Battle of Hastings. Good old 1492. Sail the ocean. What happened in 1644? I feel like I should know. Oh. 1947. A lot happened in 1947. Anyway. It's not a history class, John. What level of data is that representative of? I like it. Dates do come in an order, but can you tell me?
I'd say it's nominal because it doesn't matter what position you're in, right?
Well, there is an inherent order to dates, right?
Yeah.
It's interval. Why?
Because you can subtract them and tell how far they're.
Yeah. So, 1947 to 1944, they're 3 years apart. So whatever happened in 47 happened 3 years after the events of 1944. Right? But that's interval because the subtraction makes physical sense. Can you divide them? Yes. Would the answer mean anything? No. Why not? The year 0. Does that mean the absence of things happening? Nothing's happened yet. No. Things happened before the year 0. A lot of shit. Of course, the year 0, they were walking around like, what's the year 0? That's kind of like defined after the fact. But that'd be kind of weird. It's the year 0. Sorry. So you can divide them. I really want to make you understand. You can divide these. They're just freaking numbers. You can put them in the calculator. Does your answer mean shit? No. Now what about ages? I don't know if ages are... What about ages of people?
The division doesn't mean anything.
Ratio.
Sure it does. Anybody in here 23 years old? That would freak me out. All right, so I'm twice as old as you are. 46 divided by 23 is 2. So when you divide ages, do you get something that means something physically? Yes. Why? What does 0 mean? You ain't been born yet, right? Your feet have not touched the surface of the earth, right? You're still baking. You guys with me? Yes.
Zero makes sense.
So for the last one with the dates, if you did put ordinal, would it be wrong?
Yes, because your answer has got to always be the highest level. Nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. So these are names, aren't they? A year is a name for a certain amount of time. So the year 2018, I want to forget about it, but oh well, right? But that's the name of it. But then there is an order to years, obviously, right? This is the highest number year we've had yet. I love that whole thing. We haven't had a higher year yet than... Anyways. So there's an order to them, but you can subtract them and the answer makes sense. So that's the highest level. Your answer has to be the highest
It has to be the highest.
level. Exactly. You guys with me? You like it?
So if we put interval, you already know that it probably has nominal or
It has to.
We don't have to.
It's inherently, it's builds automatically. So everything that's ratio is everything. It's just that I'd say ratio because that's the highest thing. So it's inherently understood that it has all the other stuff too. I like it. So if somebody made $80,000 a year, you go, there's that $80,000 a year dude. That's his name, right? Well, I forget his name, but I'm going to call him $80,000 a year dude. Why not? It's his name. So it's nominal, but it's more than that, of course. It's all the way up at ratio.
So would the time of day on an analog watch be ratio?
This one is, well, the whole thing with it. Okay, all right, this gets a little bit weirder with something else that we haven't talked about yet, but analog watch means what? It's the hands. I like it. So just like that. That's an analog. So the time on an analog watch. Can you... So then I'd say, is it military time? Right? If it's military time, can you subtract the two and an answer make sense? Yes. In, non-military time, 1 p.m. minus 11 p.m. is negative 10. 11 a.m. is negative 10. What the hell? Wait a minute. Right? So this one you could argue, what would you think?
It's like a trick question. 'Cause like,
Sort of, yeah. What would you say then?
I would say ratio. That's what I would say.
I'd say interval.
If you divide 2, it doesn't really mean anything.
Well, if you divide 12 by 6, it's half the time. It's twice as long.
Yeah, so like military time. If you said military time, I could see the argument for ratio. Because what does 0 mean? Does 0 have a meaning in military time?
Yes.
Midnight. So then, like 6 a.m.
Oh, 600.
is twice as far from midnight as 3 a.m. Right? 0300. Right? Now, most of us, when we see that, we're probably not in the military, so don't think military time, and then it wouldn't be ratio.
So it's not like that in depth thinking. Like just take it.
A little bit. And that's why I let you explain yourself, and then I grade it based on your explanation.
Okay. So it's all depending on.
So there are some that can be sort of wobbling, right? And some students are like, ah! But just explain how you're thinking about it. A really good example is like the number you take, the number you're given at the DMV. What level would that be? Why would you say interval?
I'm 54 and you're 60.
Who's been at the DMV recently? Now, I would accept that if you explain, but don't they give you A11? I love it when you're like, H7, and H6 goes up, and you're like, all right, I'm next. A13, all right, I'm still next. G48, all right. Bingo, I don't know shit. And you're like, come on, I'm next, sort of. Come back to H. Sorry, you guys, if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, oh, good, and then 4 hours later, what the hell just happened? They cleared out all the other letters. All right, sorry. All right, that's enough.
So what would the analog one be?
All right, so you could say totally has to at least be ordinal, right? There's an order to the time, thankfully. We don't experience time non-linearly. We're not like the dude in, what's that movie, Memento? Anyway. But then you could argue interval. Even if it's not military, you can argue there's a way to subtract the times, correct? So if you said ordinal, I'd probably be okay, but you can argue interval for sure. You have to be able to say how far apart 2 times are. Right, I'm going to meet you in 5 hours. What's that mean? You have to be able to tell how far apart things are. So I would definitely say it should be interval. And if you say military time, you can even argue ratio.
So
So your explanation would just say that. Yeah.
I was gonna say with KB ratio then?
Yeah, what do you think? Any true measurement, almost, except for temperature, because we don't have a zero. It's not really a true measurement. Any true measurement, like height, weight, length, they're going to automatically be ratio. Because zero would mean the absence of height or the absence of weight. So if I went fishing and I caught a fish that was 0 inches long, that's another way of saying I didn't catch any of it, right? So the length of all the fish I caught was 0 inches. So 0 would mean absence of fish.
So for these ones, you want us to explain our answers, or just put the answer?
This one just says put the answer, that's fine. On a quiz, I'm going to have you explain, because if I just had you put an answer down, I don't know what your thinking is. The important thing is your thinking. Yeah. All right, let me see. What do I want to do? I think that's all I wanted to do out of there. I think I'm going to let us out early. Is that all right?
Before you let us out, the letter grades would be ordinal. I just want to make sure I have this drilled.
Yeah. So what do you think about letter grades? It definitely is not interval or ratio. They're not numerical at all.
There's no pluses, so it's not here.
Even if it was plus or minus, it'd be no.
You gave us a variance.
But there's no, you
There's
can't
numbers
subtract.
up there.
I like it. It's definitely got, it's at least nominal, right? But it's more than that.
I'd say
Wouldn't
ordinal.
it? It's got to be ordinal. There's an order to it. A is obviously better than B. So if I said, what grade do you want out of this class? B, D, A, F. You're like, what the shit are you doing? Right? A, B, C, D, E, F. Stop it. Let's see who circles F. Yes? Yeah, quiz on Friday. So I'll tell you tomorrow what it's going to cover. It's going to at least cover chapter 1.
Do you want all of this homework on Friday?
If you can get all this homework done on Friday, that's great. Turn it in.
That's the latest you'll take it.
The day of the test. The latest I will take homework is the day of the final. It's only late if it's given to me after the day of the test. Everybody with me? So the day of the test, any homework you haven't turned in that's going to be on the test needs to be turned in. You can still turn it in after that. It's just going to be late. And the later it is, the worse. Okay. That's enough. Come see me if you have any questions or need to add code or something.
So by January 7th, all this is due. First chapter.
Dude, yes.
So I used to do all my homework. So